Now, when do you see that happen? So now in New York, I guess in many other states and many places, this stunt was pulled. So now they bring out bodies or show you bodies of dead people, which were probably already dead, probably in the morgue and probably grow old and died, or they probably, what I'm saying, all this and that, they probably even gave them shot and they died anyway. And they bring those bodies out after he says it came in on a ship in the harbor. And the big finale, the cameras showing the ship with the little tugboats around it, guiding it, the police boats and the security boats bringing it on in. Next thing we know, it jumped to where Como pulled out bodies out of the nursing home and so forth, and the hospitals or whatever. So now, by them running forward this way, they could actually say there is a virus because nobody has done any research in those bodies. Nobody did an autopsy on those bodies. Nobody proved that that's what killed them in the first place, or how did they die from that, or did they die from that, or any other investigation. Because they had in their minds that these bodies are so contaminated you can't, you don't go around it because you might get the virus. But I bet you if you did, you wouldn't have. And I bet you if you did an autopsy, you'd find out that they didn't die from that. They were pulling the plugs on these people. So a lot of hospital workers are guilty of this. So now we see what's going on in the hospital and been going on for years. Our medical field is turned out to be one of the most dangerous places that you can go. And that's a damn shame. And then you use it to lie to the people and said there was a virus coming on in when it was not. All it was meant to do was get your mind to believe that there is, which we know many people knew that it wasn't. That's why they came up with a disinformation center and the media and so on. You should know that. You know what I'm saying? Because we were proving them wrong on all corners. Mad people was like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, man, pull up your mask, man. Oh, man, y'all getting us sick because you wear man. And all that garbage ass piece of lying ass motherfucking crackhead shit that you went for. So we know full well in the United States that we are surrounded by a great vast of morons. And that's a fact. Never in my life did I think that many people would be that crazy to believe that without doing proper research. So they have drained the swamp on the dummies. Let's just be honest. And Lord knows what other tricks they got. Because now he's talking about another vax. And if people are stupid enough to believe that and go for that, you can be screwed. Just like you are now. But once they got people to believe it, you know what I'm saying, and people panicking and people, and the next move was to take control of the government and weaponize the government in its full bloom. Now they have people, because they're running straight ahead while Black Lives Matter out there causing scramble, confusion, and distraction. You know what I'm saying? And the rushing of the White House. All their plans was in place to bring about every plan that they had to fuck up Donald Trump. From the pandemic to the border to Black Lives Matter ripping up our cities and towns with their garbage ass, to Al Sharpton, to all these different civil rights leaders, and everybody came out. All the demons they had came out the motherfucking bucket. I've never seen that in that bloom till 2020 and the COVID-19 virus, man. So-called fake ass pandemic bullshit. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe my black people was actually out there in this mix. Oh yeah. And many of them was following behind Black Lives Matter. Rappers too. You see the song they made? You know what I'm saying? Making songs and shit, wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirt and making rap songs. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to hear it. Because the whole issue was, and then once they let's get back to that. Once they weaponized the government and the minds of the people to believe this, people had no choice because they were full speed ahead now, like a freight train. So they quickly quarantined the whole of the United States. Who the fuck gave them the right to do that? Who the fuck gave them the right to do some garbage like that? You garbage, nigga. You trash. Sitting up there quarantining the whole of the United States. Imagine that. Fucking people money up, businesses, and all kinds of garbage. Then running around arresting people for having a party. Sharon Nachman up in Stony Brook talking about, bullshit. Talking about A systematic, B systematic. You were giving these people this shit. And they're going to talk about A systematic, B systematic. Good, healthy people could be spreading the virus. And I can't believe regular fucking people believe that shit. Now, my question would be, and I wish people would hit me up and answer that question. How many of y'all actually had believed Sharon Nachman saying asymptomatic, B systematic, and good, healthy people could be spreading the virus? How many of you really believe that? You know what I'm saying? If it's 100%, then there's 100% of morons running around. That's how we got to be very careful. We can't go for that no more. Your neighbors, everybody around you. If you are thinking like us and doing your study and your research, then you stand out in that crowd. Because we know they're doing a lot more than what we just saw. And been doing it in Africa for years. This is why they show on TV talking about Ebola. Notice they always say an Ebola breakout in Africa. But Data One did that. Ebola just don't jump and fly. And even if it's so, they're giving it to the people by giving them vax. And the king is allowing them to come in and do it to the people. Or the leader. So of course they're going to be a breakout here and a breakout there. And then they go over and they give the people poisonous medicines. Our medical field is one of the most dangerous places in the world. And Anthony Fauci, the killer weasel, ain't no exception to that motherfucker move because he is the direct component and leader along with Bill Gates, Linda Gates, CDC, and the World Health Organization, and the rest of them demon, blood clot, sucking ass demons that is flourishing and trying to flourish in our country that we must shut down. You know what I'm saying? But he's up on CNN News trying to discuss, you know what I'm saying, Matthews to CNN, Michael, as the COVID-19 rises. Yes, it's going to rise. I had to read that again. It's going to rise, because the reason why it's going to rise, because once all the trickery, the quarantine, and all that shit was put into play, now the people were forced into a corner. You know what I'm saying? Because the second weaponization that came out of that, along with the dummies running to do it in the first place, because there was a whole lot of people just volunteered to go dig up their nose and run down the road. Then you start hearing reports talking about people seeing things in the back of their eyes. You know what I'm saying? People did this and did that, and they still got it. They talking about the people this and the people that, and they're still dying. You heard all kind of tragical stories. You know what I'm saying? Behind this. But none of the good, healthy people that didn't do anything or take anything were labeled the bandits of the carriers of the virus by sharing the nutcase Nachman. And we know you a crew, so don't come with that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? We know who you are. Don't let us have to dig deeper into your shit. You know what I'm saying? Sit your ass down somewhere and shut the fuck up. You can do that. You lying ass son of a bitch. And then you know what killed me about these people? Now, once you did that, and then you weaponize using the quarantine, number one, you know what I'm saying? Then the bunch of people ran out because you're quarantining so long. They say they want to get out. So they do. Then the second thing you did, or the first thing you did, what I'm saying, to me, along with everything else, was you told all the civil workers and different people that they would have to do it too. That's number two. And then you said that if you want to go back to work on all federally regulated jobs and businesses, you know what I'm saying, you would have to take the vax in order to go back to work. So on top of scraping up 80%, you know what I'm saying, the other, you know what I'm saying, 20% got it because they wanted to keep their job. So they weaponized the virus into people. Now, once that access has access itself through them giving it to your ass by way of vax, you know what I'm saying? What happened next? What happened next? Everybody goes back to work and it causing enormity. But once that happened, now the point of the access that went in is now going to show access coming out. So now it doesn't matter whether it's Bogota, it don't matter whether it's London with Boris or whatever, Boris Johnson, Boris with his fake ass fucking clown ass looking. They should knock Boris Johnson's head clean off his body. Don't let me disclaimer, I ain't telling you to do that. But they need to really go after that man and have him locked up. He's no more than a Tony Blair. Just like you had Bush Donkey Jr. and Tony Blair, the fucking Flair jackass. On both sides in Britain and England or wherever he was in the parliament. He over here trying to convince them into this garbage. He over here in America knocking on the World Trade Center trying to convince us into that garbage and all this different shit. Now you have Boris Johnson, Boris, over there trumping up all these and he in the position to make these people do this because he's holding that position. Same as we see over here with Governor Cuomo and many other governors all around the world, all around the United States, and all over the world. Any place that that Bill Gates went, they already had it. They didn't make it. They elixir it up, and in fact, actually killing Weasel and Bill Gates and all of them. You know what I'm saying? But they already had it. I don't care whether you say well now or now or what now. You already had it. Bill the Beast Gates was going around with his beastly fucking Neanderthal troglodyte ass, going to many countries over many years, dropping off these boxes along with $3 to $5 billion he giving these people to bring this stuff in. So when and claiming that he's a philanthropist, one who cares so much about you, but when the time comes, set it up nicely too. When the time comes, you would have the necessary vax in order to save your people. But in those vials was no cure. It was no more to me than, I would say, nanobots and all types of shit in that shit. Sterilizing product, AIDS probably, and all types of shit in that shit. You see? So now, once that happened, the God or the science that would have blocked it from accessing now has access. So now you're going to see a rise in viruses all over the world, including Africa and South Africa as a whole, because we know there's a lot of sellouts in Africa. I'll be selling them people out for a chicken wing. You know what I'm saying? And a buckle fries and a bottle of sunflower seeds. You know what I'm saying? But now it's going to pop up all over the world because everybody got it in them. It was put in them. It wasn't, they didn't catch anything. It wasn't floating in the air. It wasn't none of that. The only way for it to happen, they had to inject it into your ass. So now viruses can pop up anywhere because they've been doing the same routine over and over again. This is why you're hearing about viruses and different things that you never even heard of. Names you can't even pronounce because they have been doing this to the people for years. You know what I'm saying? Now they did it on a massive scale all over the world. Watch it, watch. Keep your eyes sharp. There's going to be all kinds of new viruses popping out. That's impossible. First, you're going to hear about the lymphoma. You're going to hear about the trichomoniasis. You're going to hear about the monkeypox. You're going to hear about monkey dogs. You're going to hear about the virus from a banana boat chicken. You're going to hear it from a pig virus. You're going to hear all these viruses they have been injecting and causing to go into people, even going back to the swine flu and many different other viruses and shit. You know what I'm saying? They've been injecting the pigs and different foods and shit and putting that in people. So now once it's in you, it could be London, it could be Paris, it could be America, it could be the Virgin Islands, it could be, it's going to pop out. Because if I give it to you, you didn't catch anything from the air. How many people, listen, if people was catching it from the air and from other people, and this was the most deadliest virus ever, then you know how many people would have long time died away? Talking about SARS and this and that was always around since 1975 and like going all the way back. Yeah, because they was giving it to the people and creating it. I don't give a fuck what you say. It wasn't going. The same thing happened in the Black Plague, which was a white plague because it happened in Europe. It didn't happen to black people. When it started to get close, black people shut it down. You see? We had to go up there and conquer them up and shut it down. Because they were making each other and themselves sick. They're good known for doing this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? When they'll go out and put something out there and get the people sick. Whether it's in the food, whether it's in this and that. But we know that this one was put into the people, not coming from the air. Because how many people were sick? You know what I'm saying? Nobody was sick until Cuomo pulled that bullshit in New York. Now look at the death toll based on the people now that they have done this to them. They have put all type of shit in them. So if they want right now, you know what I'm saying, somebody could show up at the hospital after being a vax and say that he have poliomyelitis, some new shit we never heard of. And it'll go on and on and on for generations and years while it depopulates and weakens the American people. There is no virus floating in the air. Because if that was the case, billions of people would have died already. So we know if that happens, then they are spraying it in the air. But if millions of people die all of a sudden, we know that it was not that. It was put into them with a messenger mRNA chip or whatever, or liquid device. It's like you have water wetting ballots that you can put, you dip it and then the wires are formulated into it. You know what I'm saying? Into the paper that you can't see. You know what I mean? Same thing with this. That liquid, you know what I'm saying? How many of you have taken a vial of that and truly examined it under a microscope and tested and all these different things? How many bottles of this shit did people get in order to be able to do that? And how many people have the necessary equipment to look into this thing? They don't. The only thing they have is a scare tactic put on them, and now they have it in them, so now any virus could pop out of it because they put it in you. It didn't float in the air. You didn't catch it from nobody else. You know what I'm saying? You may have caught the common cold. Why you ain't talking about the common cold? You might have, the most you got was a flu. That's why they say act like a cold and a flu and a cold and a flu. Because every year we live around these people and they have the phenotype of these different things, do bestiality and all kinds of shit. So they may have different types of virus that comes from them. Now they want to put it in everybody else. So now everybody else now is popping out with all types of shit because you put it in them. And you know you did. You didn't catch it from nobody else. I don't give a flying fuck what you say. What you caught probably may have been a common cold. And if you caught it from someone else, I bet you that person was already hit with that vax. And that stuff was put into them. And somehow they were able to spread it to you because they said it was coming out with one that would infect the whole neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? But we see Massachusetts called up National Guards to cope with Massachusetts, Massachusetts, the loyal demon democratical state. You call up the National Guard to cope with the migrant as protesters rage, as protests rage. Massachusetts calling that? Okay, let's look at this thing here. Well, we see this coming by Ronnie uh, Rice or whatever 7 hours ago, which we know is not is the late edition and it's the late edition. We see Massachusetts officials overwhelmed by the arrival of migrants have activated the National Guard as they scramble for more housing. Why more housing? Yeah, house the black people that you're fucking getting racism against probably. While aid groups say they have been pushed to the limit and protests abound. Governor Mara, whatever her name, and Healy or whatever, mobilized 250. Yes, okay, yes, she gonna mobilize 250 members of the National Guard on Thursday to help transport the latest wave of asylum seekers. Oh yes, they're gonna push them right into your city and use the National Guard to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's right. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all sat up there and voted for this shit. All right. But much like the crisis overtaking the Big Apple, Massachusetts has nowhere near enough housing or resources currently available to accommodate the fluctuation. Yeah, you do. Send them back where they came from. Send them to Joe Biden's house and Kamala's house. Send them to Hillary Clinton's house and Bill Clinton's house. Send them to Obama's Martha Vineyards and all these different places that you see. We'll send them to. You know what I'm saying? But remember, when the time comes, black people, you've got to beware because this plan seems to be a plan to hurt black people and many other races of people as well. You full of shit. You ain't telling me nothing about this migrant crisis. This migrant crisis is a piece of shit. And you've been doing this shit and you did this shit in order to distract us, blame Trump, set up Trump, do all kinds of shit. But your shit is being revealed slowly and surely, isn't it?